In this video, we're going to go over AAMC PREview passages, questions, and answers, and how you can effectively rate your answers using our BMO strategies. Before we get into this, I would introduce myself briefly. My name is Zhenya Kramchenkova. I am the content manager at BMO, and we've helped thousands of students get into medical schools in the US and Canada, in the UK and Australia. So I'm here to share with you how we prepare our students for the AAMC PREview and how they are able to score in the 90th percentile among other candidates and get into the medical schools of their dreams. Let's get into a sample scenario with answers that are provided for the scenario, and we'll go over the rating that we would give each response. So here's the scenario. You're assigned to a small group in your clinical skills course. One of your group members has recently struggled with their assignments. The group member is often late to sessions, prepares materials of poor quality, and needs numerous reminders to complete tasks. Your group receives a new assignment that is due in 3 weeks and will be graded based on the group's overall performance. So, before we get into the actual responses and reading them out loud, let's identify the core competencies that you're being tested on. After all, that's the most important thing for you to remember to do well on this test, okay? So, core competencies that you're being tested on. Teamwork, right? It's important to work well with a group. And as a medical student, you'll be doing a lot of that. And of course, as a practicing physician in the future as well. So teamwork is a huge core competency for this scenario to prepare for. Another two competencies that you might want to kind of keep in mind as you're dealing with this scenario are service orientation and reliability and dependability. And we'll get into that in a second when we look at the pressing issues and the parties impacted. So the pressing issue is, of course, you ensure that your team collaborates, performs well together on the assignment. And there's another pressing issue that might not be as obvious, to the naked eye, if you will, but really you are obviously seeing somebody really struggling on your team. They're not doing so well with work, with their studies. So as an empathetic person, even though empathy is not a core competency you're being tested on, but, service orientation and reliability and dependability, as I said, are the other two core competencies that you're being tested on. You really want to, empathize and understand why this person is not performing well, right? So you do not want to dismiss the struggles of this person immediately. So another pressing issue here is, help this struggling person to do well on the project and just, check in that they're okay, and maybe you can help them become a better student. Okay, so the parties impacted then, based on the pressing issues that we identified, is your team and this struggling team member. Okay, let's not forget about this person as well. As I said, teamwork is really the core competency here being tested, but a good team leader and a good person who works in a team will not dismiss a struggling person either, right? So now let's look at the responses, the optional responses that are given to us, and we will give each response a rating, but I'll read them out first, and maybe you can pause the video and do the rating yourself, and then we'll go through the rating and explanation for each reading, for each response, okay? So the first response is: encourage the group member to speak to the professor about creating a plan to handle their workload. The second response is: meet with the group member one-on-one and ask how you can help them contribute more effectively to the assignment. Response number 3 is: meet with your group and evenly divide tasks across all members, making sure expectations are clear. Response number 4 is: ask the professor to assign the group member to a different group. Fifth response is: work with the other members of your group to complete the assignment without the group member. The next response is: request that your professor grades each group member independently. Another response is schedule recurring group meetings to review the work completed by each group member. And the last response option we have is tell the group member that their lack of accountability places the entire group's performance and grade at risk. So I'll give you a second to rate your answers. You can pause the video, and then we'll go into the ratings and the explanations using our BMO strategies. Okay, so let's look at the first response. So the response is encourage the group member to speak to the professor about creating a plan to handle their workload. So the rating that the AAMC gave this and we gave this, it's effective. And why? Why is it effective? So you have recognized the source of the issue you're trying to solve, so the pressing issues here, and have taken steps toward aiding your group's performance and the struggling individual. While this action could help, you are not taking responsibility for the outcome, but rather putting the onus on the struggling group member and your professor, thereby not fully demonstrating reliability and responsibility and dependability, right? You're not making the situation worse, ineffective and very effective responses, right? But you're also not guaranteeing a positive impact for your group or for the struggling team member. So there's a couple of things here, right? You are putting responsibility on someone else. So yes, you came up to the student, your team member, you are empathetic. So you are showing the competencies, the teamwork, right? You obviously came up to them and you care that they're on the team and that you want the whole team to succeed with this person. That's great. And you obviously want to help in the sense of service orientation. And you are trying to be, I guess, reliable and dependable, but it's kind of a shortcoming in this response, right? You're putting the responsibility on the professor, in fact. And another thing that you have to keep in mind why this is effective and not very effective is that what if the professor just says, no, I don't have time? Or what if the team member is so busy or struggling so much with something personal that they're shy to even come up to the professor, right? So you have to think about these things in that way. And in this response, you do positive outreach in that regard, but it's not guaranteed. So you're not making the situation worse. As we said, that's the main signal of a very ineffective and an ineffective response, but you're also not guaranteeing a solution to the problem. So that's why this response is rated just as effective. The second response is meet with the group member one-on-one and ask how you can help them contribute more effectively to the assignment. The rating you want to give this response is very effective. So why is it very effective? Well, first of all, you're demonstrating teamwork because you obviously care about the performance, your team, and this team member. You personally approach them. You're reaching out to collaborate with them. And you're also demonstrating service orientation by using personal time. So you're giving up your own time to ask them how you can help and to improve their performance. By taking this action, you're also fully accepting responsibilities. So in the previous response, remember, you kind of put the responsibility on the professor. In this case, you are personally approaching the student and helping them directly. So you're making a better step in terms of securing the success of this team member's performance, right? So therefore, you can be more certain that the student and your colleague, your teammate will put everything they can into the project. And of course, you're ensuring a better outcome for the entire team. So this response is very effective. The next response we have is that you meet with your group and evenly divide tasks across all members, making sure expectations are clear. So the rating for this response is effective. So not very effective, but effective. Why? You are demonstrating the core competency tested here, teamwork, by taking steps to ensure that the entire group, each individual member, completes the assignment or, they're part of the assignment. But the positive impact is not guaranteed because you're not addressing the struggle of your teammate. The responsibility of completing the work is placed on each group member, which is good, but you have not really stepped up to that service orientation or reliability and dependability. You're not personally responsible for their success, or you personally didn't reach out and make sure that each group member, especially the struggling one, is able to meet the objectives outlined by the assignment. So you kind of took on the responsibility initially, gave everyone an outline of what is expected, and then you backed away, right? So even though this is an effective response, it's not very effective because it does not guarantee the solution. It's potentially going to help the situation, but not guarantee the solution. The next response we have is that you ask the professor to assign the group member to a different group. Well, I think we all can agree that that's not very nice, but really the rating for this is very ineffective. Why is that? So by, making this move to disengage from the struggling team member and, disengage them from your group, you're demonstrating poor teamwork, which is the core competency you're being tested on. So you're leaving, a man behind, basically. And of course, you're also not showing service orientation or responsibility and dependability. So you really, you offloaded the issue, kind of decided not to deal with it, essentially. And you also, you put the professor in an awkward situation where it's now their problem. And, if the professor agrees to do that, your action will actually negatively impact the struggling group member, because they will obviously know that they're being moved. And you might even be impacting another group to which the struggling team member will join, right? So it's just negative impact all around. And if the professor does not agree to do it, your action will negatively impact the struggling group member and your own group, because they'll stay with you, but you took no actions to resolve the situation. In either case, as you can see, this decision to ask the professor to move your teammate to another group just negatively impacts everyone, including the struggling team member, your group, if they stay, and maybe even another group to which this person might move. So this is a very, very ineffective decision. The next response we have is work with the other members of your group to complete the assignment without the group member. Again, I think we can all agree that that is not very nice. But that's really not the issue. You shouldn't rate your responses based on nice and not nice. But in this case, this is a very ineffective response, because again, remember the core competencies that you're being tested on. This response goes against teamwork, goes against dependability and reliability, goes against service orientation. So you're really not showing any of the core competencies that are being tested here, right? So you're really disengaging from this person, leaving them kind of in a rut. You're demonstrating very poor teamwork, and this action will make the group member that is struggling feel very left out and obviously negatively impacted. But also you will negatively impact your team. Maybe potentially this person could help out. They could be a great contributor to your project, but with leaving them out, you're maybe putting more work on your other team members, which is just negatively impacting them. So again, this response is all around just a bad decision. The next response is request that your professor grades each group member independently. Again, this you might kind of think of a little bit as selfish. Not that I want you to rate your responses based on that, but I think you can tell sometimes when a response is ineffective or very ineffective based on this. But this is a very, very ineffective response. And why? Well, the request, it literally goes against teamwork. So remember, teamwork being the core competency that you're being tested on, and you're asking the professor to split you up and grade you all individually. So that goes against teamwork. And it's really poor demonstration of dependability, because you're kind of putting your teammates at risk, your struggling teammate, of course, especially, and of course, poor demonstration of service orientation for the same reasons. it will most likely cause a negative impact for your group, for each member, because the work that you produce will be so individualistic. It will not be cohesive and will certainly not benefit anyone, especially the struggling team member. So this response is very ineffective. The next response we have is schedule recurring group meetings to review the work completed by each group member. So it's, again, initiative, of course, which is great. And the rating for this response is it's very effective. Why is it very effective? Well, this is a great example of teamwork. You're pulling your team together and you review the work of each team member. You're taking responsibility for the team's success and your team's performance, ensuring that everyone's doing well. Maybe you can even help someone out if they're struggling with a part of the assignment. So you're really in charge and you're really trying to secure successful outcome of your project, right? So that's teamwork, that's service orientation, and that's reliability. So it's, this response is great. So, in this situation too, when you're scheduling recurring group meetings, you will be able to reach out to the struggling group member, provide support. As I said, you might even help other team members. So this is a really great response, very responsible and very teamwork oriented. So you can all work together and all ensure that you're all on the same page and that you get a great grade when you submit the assignment. And the last response is tell the group member that their lack of accountability places the entire group's performance and grade at risk. So this response, so it's ineffective. Why? Well, you obviously recognize the issue, good for you, but you're attempting to address it in a way. But it's, again, this response does not show teamwork or collaboration. And you're being insensitive to the student, the struggling student. You don't know what's going on with them. And, it would be unwise to put even more burden on this person. So you're demonstrating kind of poor service orientation, right? Or dependability, reliability, and you're not really offering a solution. That's kind of the most important thing. You're not improving the situation. You're just kind of telling a person that they are not doing well and will most likely have a negative impact because you're hurting the person's feelings. And they might, who knows, might shy away from the group, might not even show up to class anymore or whatever. And of course, there's also negative impact in the sense that the other team members might have to take on the workload that the student, maybe refuses to take on after your confrontation. So this would be an ineffective response. So here you are. We went through a sample AAMC preview scenario, responses and ratings, and the rationale behind these ratings. I hope this helps you prepare. Do check out our other AAMC preview videos. We have more sample scenarios, questions, answers. We go over many other rationales behind the responses, and this will really help you understand what to expect and how strategies can really, really improve your performance on this test. Situational judgment tests are coachable, very much so. Watch our videos, read our blogs, and of course, if you have any questions, please comment in this video and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you like this video, please like, share with a friend who might be facing this dreadful test. But again, our videos are meant to help you. We provide the same information here as we provide for our students in one-on-one consultations. Please check them out, and we hope that this helps you in your journey to medical school. Thank you. Bye.